Hello everyone, it's me Fathima and welcome back to another video. We'll be talking about a few different idioms, proverbs and phrases related to time or to specify time that you can use in order to specify time. The first one is a proverb, and I'm pretty much sure that you might have heard this when you're at school, because this one is a proverb that is used by a lot of teachers in order to advise someone who's procrastinating a lot. And the proverb is, "A stitch in time saves nine." Now, the literal meaning is that if you stitch something that needs to be stitched as soon as possible, then it'll save a lot of time and effort later, because otherwise you might have to stitch a lot. Like say you have a wound, and then if you stitch it as soon as possible, then it won't get infected, or the wound won't be in a worsened situation, so you don't really have to stitch it a lot. But later on, if you're procrastinating, then you might need a lot of stitches in order to heal the wound. So that is the literal meaning. Now you might have already understood what is the circumstance you're supposed to use this particular proverb. So if you see your friend procrastinating, you can tell her or you can tell him that a stitch in time saves nine. So you better do your homeworks as soon as possible. The second one is all in good time. Now, in Malayalam, you might have heard your grandmas or your grandpas, in case if you're a Malayali, they might have told you, "Nadakanda samayathellam nadakkum." Okay, so that is what this particular idiom or this particular usage is for. So this particular idiom, that is all in good time, means that everything will happen when at its due course, so without any haste. So that is the meaning of this particular usage. So when somebody says, you don't have to worry, be patient, all is going to happen, like everything's going to happen all in good times, means when it's time for it to happen, it will happen. So you don't have to hasten. The third one is for good. So when somebody says they've gone for good or they've come back for good, then that means they've come back permanently. So they're going to be here forever. That is the meaning of for good. So if somebody has come back from, say, America, like one of your relatives happen to come back from America, and then your friend is asking you if he has come back, you can say, yes, he has come back from America for good, which means he's going to be here forever. He's not going to return. Then comes for time being. Now, when somebody says for time being, like when you happen to hear this particular usage, then that means as of now or for now. So for the time being, let's just start working and stop talking about movies. That is an example sentence. So which means for now, we'll start working and we'll focus on work, and let's not talk about movies. We can talk about it later. All right, so that is for time being. The fifth one is for donkey's years. Now, you use this particular phrase when you say something that a person has been doing forever. So, say, she's been having that car for donkey's years, which means she's been having that car forever. Like, as long as I remember, she's been having that particular car. That was the car that she owned. All right, so that is for donkey's years. Again, this is an informal usage. You have to keep that in mind. It's an informal usage. This is not something that you tell your boss. It's something that you can probably joke around and then use when you're talking with your colleagues. Now comes the sixth one, which is the 11th hour. Now there's something similar to this, in the nick of time. Now these two phrases are used when you're saying that something happened in the last possible hour, which means in the last possible moment, in fact. So if you happen to see an accident and then the ambulance happened to arrive in the last possible moment, like right before something worst could happen, then you can say, "Thank God the ambulance arrived in the nick of time," which means, thankfully it arrived before it's too late. And the 11th hour is also used in the same context. So you can say something happened in the 11th hour, or you can say we're still preparing for the shoot in the 11th hour, which means towards the end of what could be the max. Otherwise, it's out of the deadline. So right before the deadline, that is when you say it happened in the 11th hour, because in a day there are 12 hours, right? So then those 12 hours, and then 11th hour, in the sense the last possible hour that could happen. The eighth one is once in a blue moon. Now, once in a blue moon is a very common idiom that I've talked about in one of my videos where I was explaining the meaning of blue and the different phrases related to blue. So once in a blue moon is used when something happens extremely rarely. So you can say, she visits me once in a blue moon. I don't really get to see her that much because she visits me once in a blue moon, which means you only get to see her once in a blue, like you only get to see her rarely, extremely rarely, all right? That is once in a blue moon. Now the ninth one is from time to time. From time to time means you can use it when you see something or when you happen to experience something once in a while, or like occasionally. So once in a blue moon is used when something happens rarely, but from time to time is used when something happens occasionally. So it's more frequent than rarely, of course, but it's not that usual as well. Like you get to see something occasionally, and that is when you use from time to time. So from time to time, I used to upload YouTube videos, or from time to time, I used to go out and eat. So that is the usage from time to time. Now the last one, or the 10th one, is on the spur of the moment. Now on the spur of the moment is used when you don't really plan for something and you take an impetuous decision and you're like, let's just do it without any planning. So that is when you say on the spur of the moment. So I'll give an example sentence. You can say, I happen to sign up for the trip on the spur of the moment, which means I happen to sign up for the trip without even planning it ahead. Randomly I happen to be in the moment, and then I thought I'll just sign it up then and there. On a whim, I took that decision. So that is when you say on the spur of the moment. So that was it. I introduced you to 10 different phrases, proverbs, and idioms related to time, or that is used in order to specify a time period, or that is used to talk about a time period. All right, so I'll just revise it for you guys. The first one was a proverb, a stitch in time saves nine. The second one was all in good time. The third one was for good. Fourth one was for time being. Fifth one was for donkey's years. Then comes the 11th hour. Then in the nick of time. The eighth one is once in a blue moon. Ninth one was from time to time. And the last one was on the spur of the moment. I really hope this was helpful, and if you want to know more about the courses that we provide at English House, including our communicative courses as well as our IELTS training, then you can go ahead and click on the link below. Thank you so much for watching.
English House. English at your fingertips.